am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Welcome back to Metal Man's Chronicles, where metal lives. That's right, we got another brand new album review for you guys, which came out last Friday. This album I'm going to be talking about in this review today, that is. We got the brand new 5th studio album by Ghost. That's right there, Ghost. And the album is called Impera, following up, the 2018 album prequel, which I honestly did not really care for, but we'll get into that in a moment. Now, back history on Ghost a little bit. For me, I pretty much heard Ghost when they first came out, back when Opus Eponymous came out in 2010. First track I ever heard was Ritual on satellite radio, actually, to be honest. And my impression at the time was, wow, this is kind of different. I mean, it kind of had vibes of Merciful Fate and Blue Oyster Cult mixed together. I could hear them two influences. Kind of like King Diamond's first band, Black Rose, to be honest. That's kind of the vibe I got, But yeah, really good album, I thought. And yeah, I was a fan at the time, and it's the only album they ever put out on Metal Blade Records. Probably the album that has the most rawest production out of all their studio albums. Excuse me, because they would get picked up by a major label then and become Ghost BC, and we get 2013's Infestinism, however the fuck you pronounce it. This album I did not care for, and I kind of fell off the bandwagon. I just didn't like it. I remember buying it at FYE at the time, and I ended up taking it back. I just didn't care for it at the time. It was weird to me. Like, to me, it sounded like circus music, and I have not revisited that album since. So, maybe my opinion would be different nowadays. Who knows? So then the follow-up album was called Meliora, which came out in 2015. What a great album this is. Now, this album was definitely back to more of the heavy side of Ghost, A little different because this is their first taste at mainstream, But all in all, I thought it was a really solid album at the time, And then we get in, and this would have been around a time too where Papa, I'm not even gonna fucking bother, Papa 4, we'll call him Papa 4, revealed who he really was, which is Tobias Forge, who came from a death metal band. I forget the name of it off the top of my head. Anyways, yes, so that got revealed around that time period. So then we get into prequel. 2018, this album to me, and it's another album I have not gone back to since 2018. I listened to it one time when it came out, and I'm like, this album's kind of disappointing. I remember Rats was really huge around that time on radio and stuff. It's an okay track, but I mean, I might have a different opinion of it if I revisit it again, but that album didn't really do nothing for me at the time. Which brings us to 2020 to the current. Yes, that's right, the new album, Impera, which came out last Friday, like I said. And we got 12 tracks here, 2 interludes, so technically you got 10 tracks, Let's get right into it. So obviously you got Tobias Forge, the mastermind behind Ghost, on the vocals, obviously, and a big part of conducting the songwriting in Ghost. And you got Klaas Lund producing the album. Not familiar with him. I know I probably pronounced that name all wrong and stuff, but it is what it is. Because I'm only human, I fuck up too, man. But man, I gotta say, the production's huge on this freaking album. It's freaking massive. I mean, like yesterday when I went and bought this, I went to 4 different places to try to look for this album yesterday. And finally, my last stop, which was a Target. Thank you, Mick Watkins, by the way. I found it on CD. The other places only had it on vinyl. And I'm like, yeah, I'll eventually get the vinyl, but I want the CD so I can experience it in my vehicle. But anyways, yeah, man, the production blew me away. I couldn't believe it, man. It felt like I was at a live concert. That's how big the production is. It definitely has that arena rock feel to it. It's huge. Then you got Opeth's Frederick Akison doing all the guitars on this freaking album. And he does a hell of a job here. Holy crap, the guitar playing on this freaking album is amazing. You know, to me, it's probably the best guitar album Ghost has done, to be honest. Anyways, let's get into the tracks here. So we begin the album with Imperium. Short little instrumental piece, begins kind of acoustic-y. Then you get these Iron Maiden like twin guitar harmony leads, which are fucking amazing, man. Absolutely amazing. Great way to build into which would be the next track, a very progressive track too, which is Kassarian. Yeah, Kassarian, man. The next track here. Yeah, this track really has a kind of has a Rush vibe to it. Really does. I could definitely hear like Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures era Rush in this track with a little bit of Dream Theater too. Especially when it gets into the guitar soloing on here. Very Dream Theater like almost. You know, really good. I mean, a very good track. Excellent track. Anyways, moving on, we got Spillways. Spillways was released as a single. I believe this is the track that came out prior to the album coming out. Wow, what a catchy track, man. Holy crap, this is good. I could definitely hear Runaway by Bon Jovi in this track and Hold the Line by Toto in this track, which to me are two great songs. And I am not a Bon Jovi fan by no means because I only like the first two Bon Jovi albums. Everything after that is trash. But anyways, that's for another story and another time. We're talking about Ghost here. But yeah, I can hear that, especially in the beginning, man. And, you know, the bridge of the track, you can definitely hear it. The Hold the Line part, man. Oh my god, dude. This is such a great track. Very catchy. Great pick for a single. I enjoy it. Has some great tasty solos in it to measure things up. Some great tasty keyboards in it. It just fucking, it drags you in, man. That's what it is. It definitely pulls you in and it makes you want to hear more now from this album. You know what I mean? It's a great track. Okay, then we got another single from this album released prior to the album coming out. Call Me Little Sunshine. Okay, now this track right here definitely has a Queensryche vibe to it. I can definitely hear Queensryche in this track. I can definitely hear a lot of Empire in this track. Definitely, pertainly the track Jet City Woman, I can kind of hear a little bit here in this track. But again, another catchy track, kind of reminiscent of something off of Meliora, to me at least. I really enjoy it. Not my favorite on the album, but I do enjoy it. It's very catchy, you know. And that's the thing you're going to notice about Ghost. You get some very catchy stuff when it comes to Ghost. Great track. So then we get into Hunter's Moon. Now this track right here is pretty weird. But it's a good weird. Okay, let me explain. Okay, to me, when it comes to Hunter's Moon, like it has a really gorgeous melodic guitar part in the beginning of it. Then it gets into like an ABBA type of feel. It's really weird. It's kind of like if ABBA wrote a metal song, you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I like it. Then we get Watcher in the Sky. Okay, let's talk about Watcher in the Sky a little bit. Now, this is probably the most straightforward heavy metal track on the album. Really good stuff. It's got some pretty tasty heavy riffs in it. And to me, what I hear in the beginning of this track is Sabotage. Especially around the gutter ballet period. I can definitely hear that influence in this track. That's just me. You know, as a music listener and a musician myself, I hear some gutter ballet a little bit in the heaviness of this track. But all in all, it's a really, really good track with some great heavy riffs. And some great guitar solos, I must say, man. Holy cow. Dominion, just a short little instrumental piece, nothing to really talk about there, just a short little orchestrated instrumental piece that builds into 20s. Man, now this track, from reviews I've watched, people do not like this track. I fucking love this track. It's heavy, it's awkward sounding, yes. Yes, it's kind of corny. But you know what? It's still a really kick-ass track. Another track, too, that has some really good heavy riffs. And man, speaking of Sabotage, I could definitely imagine John Oliva singing this track, to be honest. It's got that vibe to it. Okay, so then we get into Darkness at the Heart of My Love. Weakest track on the album. Now, this is where the album dives a little bit for me. I do not like it. I don't like the modern pop nature of it at all. To me, the poppiness of it sounds like every other fucking bullshit crap you hear on modern radio today. And in pop country, pertainly, it's just terrible. I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't like this track. Okay, so then we get into Gritwood. Now, Gritwood's really interesting. It kind of has a Van Halen vibe a little bit to it. A little bit of Ain't Talking About Love, you know, in this one. It's really good, man. I like it. Again, another track that has some really catchy riffs. Notably, too, you know, you get more of an 80s vibe on this freaking album, too, as opposed to in the past, where you got a bit more of that 70s prog rock vibe, you know, pertainly, you know, Uriah Heep, Blue Oyster Cult, obviously, and Thin Lizzy, you know. So yeah, Gritwood's good. Bite the Passage, just a short little acoustic piece. Yeah, it probably is a useless little piece, to be honest. Because then we get into the last track, Respite on the Spitefield. Yeah, Respite on the Battlefield. See, I want to say Battlefield. Play of words here. Respite on the Spitefield, which I think is a really good track. Now, this track definitely goes back to more of that darkness of, like, Meliora to me. You know, brings back that 70s prog rock type of sound, too, in this track. I think it's a really good track, too. It seems like people don't really care for this one either. I actually really enjoyed it. I think it's a great way to end this album. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. This is a really good album. Yeah, it's more mainstream. But this is what I want to hear in mainstream. Is an album like this, not the other bullshit that's going on. And if you would have asked me back in 2002 or back in 2010 if this band would have ever became mainstream, I probably would have told you no. I never saw it coming back then. I knew Ghost was unique. Back in the early days, they used to disguise their voices when they did interviews. It was really weird. Yeah, I never would have guessed it back then, but all in all, man, this is a good album. I really don't give a fuck what the elitists think and the haters think. I'm giving this album a 9 out of 10. Vast improvement over the last album, Prequel, in my opinion. It's definitely heavier, too, in spots to me. And that's what I think. Anyways, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button. Man, we're up to 516. I'd like to be at 600 here within the next month, if all possible. I know I haven't been dishing out the reviews much lately, but you know what? It's a work in progress. Got a busy schedule in my personal life too, so. But I'm still here, and thank you guys for hanging out and sticking around here on Metal Benz Chronicles. And definitely subscribe. Go subscribe to the Metal Bastards Hangout podcast channel if you haven't subscribed yet, because you're missing the live streams if you're not subscribed. And there will be a live stream tonight. Alright, keep it metal!